Hey Leos, welcome to your June 2019 Tarot forecast. I've laid your cards out, I've already shuffled them. This is Shari from True Tarot for today, and we will be looking at your general forecast for the month ahead. Okay, so Leos, in your first house you have the Judgment card, and the first house is how people see you. So many of you Leos may have completed a cycle. Some of you may have gotten a determination regarding something legal. Some of you may have completed studies and you're now a graduate and you're appearing in the world as somebody who's finished one chapter of your life and you're starting another. It can also indicate that you've made a decision, and it's a big decision in your life, and this can be something like retiring or moving to another location, moving to another country. It could be any big decision, your children graduating from school, leaving home. But the world is going to be seeing you a lot through this change or ending or closing of a chapter and the beginning of a new one. So that's how the world perceives you from the outside in the month of June. And this will be different for all of you. Some of you, the decision will be made by you. Perhaps some of you, the decision will be from an outside person or agency. It depends. But this is the main theme of how people are perceiving you this month. Now, in your money house, you have the card of the Hangman, and this means that you're suspending any decisions at this time. And I think you're, going on an inward search about what you really value and what money means to you. And so you won't be taking a lot of action or new action. If any of you have investments, it's going to be very much a wait and see period. If any of you were thinking of buying a large ticket item, you're going to be, again, soul searching, wait and see. With Uranus and Taurus now, the economy and the monetary system will be going through significant changes and overhauls. And so I think a lot of you Leos are kind of feeling that, and you're just kind of biding your time and looking inward about, what money is to you and what you value. You have a new friendship showing up. This can also be the birth of a new child in your environment. The third house represents siblings, cousins, neighbors, and even your online community. So the social platforms like Facebook would be included in the third house. This is a new friendship. It's hopeful. It's nice energy. You feel emotionally comfortable with this person. You feel a sense of hope and excitement and happiness. So there is either a new child born in your family or in your neighborhood, or you're hearing online about a new child, or perhaps you have a new friendship that has initiated within your family, or you've reignited a friendship or a closeness with a cousin or a sibling, or in your neighborhood, somebody has appeared and you have a nice emotional rapport with this person. So it is fresh energy and it's a new beginning. In your home, you're going to be a little bit defensive. This is the card of keep off the grass. You've worked hard to put things the way you want them, and you're not going to appreciate people that don't understand your boundaries. So you will be a little irritated in the month of June. Just try to communicate politely before things accelerate. This is the card where you resent having to always fight a battle in life and people being stupid or just not understanding, boundaries. And so whether it's someone physically living in your home or a pet that you have to put fences or gates up, or whether you have a neighbor that is obnoxious, it could be any of those things. It could be an individual within your home or outside of your home, but it's not making you feel happy in your home. This is a disruptive energy where you feel, you have to defend something or defend yourself. And so try to, examine, who's the source of the problem, and maybe you can deal with it in the month of June. So when you close the door, you don't have to absorb this defensive, energy, or show that you're in control of your home or your property. Okay, the fifth house represents your children and also new love affairs. And I consider a new love affair any relationship that's been started in the last 3 years. So whether it's a new love or whether it's your children, everyone's going to be flighty. They're going to be having spring fever. There's a lack of focus here. They're dreamers. They have desires. So any new relationship you're in, be aware, Leo, that you may not be, the Leo queen. You may not be the main lion. Leos like a lot of attention, and they don't like to share their partners. But this is implying that if it's a new love in your life, they're keeping their options open. They may actually be online looking at other possibilities. I call this the Walter Mitty card, where they want to, fulfill all their desires, and they have many. They're not honing in on one person per se. So that's a little bit of a heads up. If it's your children, they're all going to be out to lunch. They're going to be dreaming. They're going to be lackadaisical. Don't expect them to keep their promises or their word. This is more about them, fantasizing and daydreaming about how they want to spend the summer or all the things that they'd like to do. But it's not really a card of groundedness or being committed. So you may feel that one of your children is being kind of flights of fancy or lost in their imagination and not very responsible in the month of June, or their communication is not clear. Okay, in your work house, this is the sixth house, it also represents your health. You, excuse me, Leos, have the work card. So this is saying many of you are punching the clock through the month of June. It's not a glamorous card. It's more like, the proletariat, like you earn money by showing up, and it's the hours that you put in. It's called the card more of the laborer and somebody who has to work hard to produce income, but they do produce it. It's just not light and airy and fun. It's pretty much put your nose to the grindstone and get busy. So many of you Leos, I think, will be working pretty hard in the month of June. If it's your health, you may have to do some work to find the right physician, the right therapy. It may involve some time and energy for you to solve a challenge if you have one with your health. But because this is the work house and you have the work card in it, I just think many of you, have gotten into a routine and a rhythm, and you'll be working throughout the month of June pretty diligently. In your partnership house, you have an offer card. So, this can be like a romantic card where someone wants to propose marriage or engagement, court you, courtship. So if it's a partner that's a potential romantic interest, they will be courting you. And they're usually a person that is romantic. They're not hard on the eyes. They're usually nice looking. They're well-mannered. They can be charming. And the cup is that they have some emotional connection with you, or they want to. So some of you Leos, if you're single, they may be a little scattered in their desires, and they may be courting more than one person, which was my caution to you Leos, because you are the diva. If you're a female or a male, you want to be center stage, and you want someone to focus their attention completely on you. So you'll have to decide or vet this person, but it seems like for many of you single Leos, you will be kind of fetching in the month of June, and you definitely have an admirer. If it's not that, where it's an admirer, this house represents all partnerships. Children can be partners, colleagues can be partners, family members can be partners. Somebody is going to be pitching to you an idea or a proposition. And this can be a proposition of, let's go on a vacation together, let's invest in this property, let's do this, let's do that, let's open a business. It could be any proposal or proposition. And they're going to make it sound very appealing. So you will have either a romantic admirer in your midst, or you will have proposals being pitched to you in the month of June from some of the individuals in your life that you consider partners. It could even be at work. Proposals will be pitched to you. Now, in your 8th house, this represents legacies, inheritances, shared resources, which can, involve custody, insurance companies, IRS. And so it's also the house of your intimate life. So if we go with the intimate life, you would be perhaps involved sexually with someone who just had a divorce, because this is the separation card. Some of you are still thinking about someone you cut off from your bedroom, because this is, again, the separation divorce card. So it could be either. You could be in bed with somebody whose divorce is still very new to them, or you have recently separated from someone and it feels like a divorce. So some of you may not actually be having an intimate life. You may be readjusting to this separation. For others of you, if it involves shared resources, there is a legal process happening, and there's some decision that you want made, or you've already come to a decision yourself about what you're going to do and what you're not going to do, and how much energy you're going to apply to get the completion or the decision. But because your reading is opening up with the Judgment card, it almost feels like this decision or separation or divorce or completion of some maybe litigation has occurred. And so you may just, some of you Leos, be taking your time and, like I said, readjusting to being single again and having romantic options that you're available. Now, your 9th house represents higher education, travel, philosophy, publishing, lawsuits. And so you have one of the best cards. This is your card, Leo. It's the Sun. And so this is about happiness, success, loyalty. And so many of you may have, in fact, won some kind of a legal battle, and you're feeling very happy about that. For other Leos, taking a trip in June would be great, because your work house shows you're working very hard. And if you were to travel, it would bring you a lot of happiness. And, the Leo, the Sun, would reignite your life force, and you would feel powerful and hopeful and very happy. So it would restore your heart chakra, and it would be a very beautiful trip. If it's publishing, a lot of happiness coming out of this. You can feel like great that you finally got this thing published. And this can be a website. This can be online today. This day and age, publishing is not just the written word. So it can be a YouTube channel. It can be so many different things. But it would bring you a lot of happiness. And also higher education would be perfect. I mean, it would reinvigorate you and give you hope. So any of these areas, the 9th house has the sun shining on it, and that's your ruler. So any endeavor, whether it's publishing, travel, legal issues, completion of legal issues, It's a great card, and friends may be involved in some way because this card also represents friendship and loyalty. In your career house, the 10th house, how the world sees you, they see you in retreat right now. It's kind of like your money house where you're stepping back and taking a wait and see approach and you're going inward. Same thing is going on in your career. You're kind of stepping back. Some of you need to recharge your battery, which is why a trip would be beautiful for you in the month of June. But it's a card where you don't really love the stress and you feel like life is a little bit too much of a battle, so your profession may be bringing you a lot of challenges. And this is the card where you feel like you're a soldier and you're home from war and you just need to recuperate. Some of you may have been dealing with a few health challenges, and this just means that you need to recharge your battery before you go out and you reapply all of your Leoin energy and your life force into the world. But in your profession, people are not going to see you center stage this month or showcasing all of your abilities and your energy. They're going to see you kind of retreating and being a little bit reticent about engaging a lot or applying a lot of energy. In your friendship house, you have the devil here. So one of your friends, Leos, isn't really doing you any good. I'm sorry to say that. I'm kind of, I wouldn't say a cutthroat reader, but I get right to the point. This person has bad attachments. So whether it's alcohol or bad debt or depression, it could be any monkey on their back, something that they've outgrown and they don't really have the strength to overcome. They're chained to a situation which is lethargic and stale and decayed. It's stagnation. It's a lot like the death card in reverse. So one of your friends is a real Debbie Downer here. And this applies to males and females. It's a lot of negative energy. And, when you have people around you that are negative, they sort of pull you into the whirlwind of their story, their codependency, their attachment, and they justify it and try to, bring you in. And Leos, you do like to care for people, and you have all this life force energy. That's your natural way. You're ruled by the sun. But even you need times to retreat and recharge your battery. So Debbie Downer over here, like I said, isn't doing you any good. And I think that you're going to think about if you've outgrown this relationship, because it looks like this is a cycle with this person and it's sort of like never ending. They never remove the chains. And so why are you there to sort of facilitate them or be the shoulder to cry on when they don't apply themselves and get out of this mess? And then finally, your 12th house is your blind spot. Sometimes it's your burden or your prison. And I think this is about doing things for other people, because this is the card where you're competent, you're skilled, you can manifest. But, when you're around negative energy, they are like a vacuum. They're like a black hole. And so all of your, positive life force energy can be sucked, whether it's a career that there's too much stress in, you're working hard, but you have to kind of, nurse other people. Leos sometimes do like to feel superior. There's a selfish side to this too, with the ego, when they like to rescue people and help them. So you got to look at that, like, do you take your own skill and adeptness for granted, and then do you get played? Because a lot of you Leos do get played. People know that you have a good heart, you have a big heart, and you have a lot of inward strength, and you're hopeful. and you have an outlook on life that it's like you can do things when you put your mind to it. So you got to look at this in your 12th house. Is your skill and your ability to manifest serving you, or is it being channeled or siphoned off by people that sort of suck you dry? And you have to decide, how you use your ability to manifest. Some of you in the past, this is a lesson you haven't mastered yet. Some of you haven't used all of your abilities, and you'll be thinking about that in the month of June, about what you need to manifest, not for others, for yourself. Some of you also may have been, strong-willed and a little egotistical and manifested things, but it ended up, binding you and putting you in a prison, like you did it. That's that saying, be careful what you wish for. But then it led to a sense of imprisonment. So, the will is very strong with the fire signs. And when, the fire signs are healthy, they are in a very active state, and the ego and the will can be very productive and useful. But in the month of June, I think you're going to be, looking at some of your choices and where you put your energy and your manifestations. Some of you may be looking at if people, like I said, are siphoning off and sort of riding on your coattails, your strength and your sunny personality and your heart, are you sort of co-enabling negative patterns? And others of you, this would be what you have not manifested. This is the card of very competent energy, the magician. It's an ability to visualize something and make it real. Some of you may still be trapped by a dream or a vision that you had that you haven't manifested yet. So you'll have to decide if it's the siphoning off of your energy, where it gets dissipated in not really the wisest direction, and you're used for your capabilities and your strength, or if you need to manifest something and it's pulling on you, or you've manifested something and now you're bound to it. It was a negative manifestation. So I think you'll have to decide. But this is a significant month, Leo. I think you're going to feel some decisions have been coming down the pipeline. They're here. You have an offer from a partner, so that's always kind of nice. But I don't love in your home that you have to be on the defense and explain yourself to anyone. So, if you're single and you live alone, just be aware that, you're the master of your own house. You also have to be the master of your own emotions, and don't let, people around you challenge you unnecessarily or cross your boundaries. Just make your communications very clear about what you expect and don't expect, so that, again, you don't have your energy being a little dissipated. Well, that's your reading, Leos, for the month of June 2019. I wish you a productive and happy month. And if you like my videos, please like, share, or subscribe. And I will catch you back here next month. Take good care.